I remember the first time I went up that mountain, Arrowsmith, and sitting on the top of it, and you're thinking like, wow, I just climbed a mountain. As a kid, that's a pretty cool feeling, like, wow, I am on top of the world right now.
When I came home in 1975 from Australia, flew into Vancouver on a sunny Sunday evening, looked out of the airplane at Vancouver Island and the Gulf Islands. This is home. This is home. It's a beautiful place, one of the nicest in the world.
It's very important that these places stay protected because what people come to see is this.
Where is this place? These individuals are talking about the Mount Arrowsmith Biosphere Reserve on the east coast of Vancouver Island, encompassing the towns of Nanoose, Parksville, Coombs, Qualicum Beach, and other communities. This area has received a UNESCO designation under their Man in the Biosphere program, which means that the inhabitants of the region have a special relationship with their environment. To find out what makes this relationship unique and diverse, our team set off to interview 10 individuals who live, work, or take part in recreational activities within the Biosphere Reserve.
Through the interviews, there has been much variety identified in terms of the fauna, flora, recreational activities, and environmental sites of beauty. Our interviewees spoke with passion of what the Mount Arrowsmith Biosphere Reserve, also known as the MABRRI, has to offer.
Mount Arrowsmith is unique among biosphere reserves in that it goes from the bottom of the Strait of Georgia at 300 meters depth to the top of Mount Arrowsmith, which is over 1,800 meters. So it's got the greatest vertical range and variety of habitats of any biosphere reserve in Canada, from the abyssal ocean deep to the alpine. I think what makes this area so special for me is the connection between the land and the ocean. Both for the salmon coming down, for the herring spawn, and when the herring spawn, a lot of the eggs get washed up on the beach, and that brings the brant in, which feed on the brant. So the spring is really a magical time here.
You know, Qualicum Beach in Parksville, this kind of beach doesn't exist all over the place, for sure. You know, when the tide goes out here, it doesn't go out as far as in Parksville, but it does go out, and it's beautiful to walk on, and tide comes in over the hot sand and then go swimming. It's perfect.
The options of outdoor activities are particularly diverse all year round, and multiple interviewees spoke of this reality.
Well, I've been here 36 years now, and I think it was the fact that my parents had chose this part of Canada to call home, and as growing up here and being involved outdoors, fishing and hiking, it's always kind of been a great place to stay. So there's always the attraction of coming here for the outdoors.
I think I would have to say that I feel most fortunate that we can do everything from here 12 months a year. Where in the world can you go snow skiing, golfing, and salmon fishing all in the same weekend?
Story is it's a real story of kind of discovery for me, because one of the most exciting things about kind of being up here and riding in this area is that there's so much that it's like I always feel like I'm on this, you know, I'm discovering something new. There's always a new trail to ride, you know, and it's different, or you do something different than last time because there's so much variety. Amazing spot for hiking and alpine style climbing or mountaineering, and so that's all pretty, for me it's all pretty exciting to kind of live in this area that has all this, you know, where I've got everything that I really love to do is skiing, paddling, sailing, mountain biking. It's pretty amazing.
The natural beauty and variety offers different opportunities to connect and find one's own passion.
The bird life in this area was one of the things that really attracted us. It's a great place if you're interested in birds. I do some hunting. We hike, mountain bike. We have a little rowboat that we use out in the Salish Sea. So yeah, being outdoors is everything to me, and that's how we spend most of our time. As you're passing through the biosphere, it's this river of birds, this constant throng, and we had to actually increase altitude because there was danger of running into birds. The brant, the gulls, the diving ducks, scoters, and long-tailed ducks, scaup, tens of thousands of birds concentrated in this area because of the spawning herring. And I mean, it's an absolutely unbelievable wildlife spectacle.
You know, even the different spots on the island, they're all different. Different watercolor, different species that you see. Some of the species here are actually named Nanaimo whatever. So there's the Nanaimo nudibranch, which is a sea slug. They're a lot prettier underwater than they are above water.
For this theme, we identify the connection of the individual to the multiple elements of the designation. Our team wanted to discover the interconnection between personal lifestyles, hobbies, and employment. When taking part in outdoor activities, people feel that they cannot live without the land.
You know, all my work and all my research and all my studying and anything like that, it's all been really intertwined together. That kind of makes this really nice mix of you know, work and play and kind of a really nice lifestyle.
I spend most of my time outdoors. I'm both a professional birder, I'm a field ornithologist, that's what I do professionally, and all my hobbies take place outdoors. Boy, I don't know how many days a year I spend outside, but virtually all of them. And then even looking after the park, I spend a great part of each day being out in Moorcroft Regional Park.
One of my jobs when I started, we had about 4 farmers that were here. We now have over 40. The face-to-face relationship is the benefit. Being able to talk to your farmer who's producing your food to tell you how they grow it, what they use in growing it. There's a real movement around local food, how far has your food traveled, supporting a local grower, and I think that's really important.
Whether choosing to live, work, or play in the MABRRI, this fantastic environment can change the lives of the people that live in the region.
15 years ago, we bought the property we have here, and now we farm 225 acres in the Mount Arrowsmith area, or the Nunus Parksville area. And it's just a great place to live. As you will see, we're only a block or so from the water. We have beautiful mild weather, and it's just a great place to live.
I think the people that I have met are above the experiences that I've had, you know, in the marine environment or with nature or on the golf course. I think the people is what I enjoy the most.
It's kind of that saying, you know, you don't know what you've loved until you've lost it. And so when I finished my grad school experience in Edmonton at Alberta, I came back here and I kind of regard myself as a born-again British Columbian lover, because this place is special, and I didn't realize how special until I didn't have it.
When developing a connection to the land, our interviewees also found they became more knowledgeable of the area and aware of its uniqueness, particularly regarding the amazing wildlife.
I was at the viewing stand in Qualicum Beach, And a visitor from Ontario who was a birder saw me with the telescope and ran out and looked around and said, "Is this normal?" And to the rest of the world, it's not. But it's normal in the Biosphere Reserve. It happens every year.
I was sitting in my helm's chair right here, steering my boat, and there was a whale, I think he was probably a male. He came from that way, and he came right at me. He rolled, and I could see it like an intelligent look. He looked right at me, and then just dove under the boat and came up, and there was, if I remember right, there was 7 adults and 2 babies.
We came out one morning, these big puddles, and there must have been at least 50 eagles down in the puddles, various around bathing and so on, and I guess because of their high intake of herring roe and herring and eating lots of salt, they wanted to get kind of cleaned up, and so these freshwater bird baths were the great thing.
Along with this also came an awareness of sustainable practices within the region and the importance of protection.
The bigger picture within the biosphere area is that all these communities, in terms of the farming, they do rely on the health of the environment in order to be successful. If those qualities of the environment get overlooked, the ability for farmers to produce the healthy food which is going to support the community, it isn't going to be here. It'll disappear in probably the not too long future.
I believe that the way industry has gone, that the Georgia Basin should be left to what it is a playground. I don't believe that there should be any more industrial activities in terms of fishing in the Georgia Basin. I believe that it should be left for the sport fishers to enjoy.
The coho salmon that used to be so plentiful out here and brought celebrities from all over the world to fish crashed. And one of the reasons for that was urbanization, because little creeks like ours were ditched and culverted and directed elsewhere and covered.
Recently there was a sea star wasting disease that came through, and it wasn't anything to do with like climate change. They actually have established it's a virus. But it was shocking to see, you know, within a couple weeks, one species totally devastated. And now you'll see little tiny sea stars, sunflower sea stars, but they quickly, you can see them almost melting in place. That's what the wasting disease does to them. And you never see any of the huge ones anymore. And that was really a wake-up call for me.
This whole area in general, there's just so much to offer here, and so much you know, beauty and places and things that really need to be protected.
Well, I'm certainly doing my best to minimize my ecological footprint, and I think a lot of people here are doing that.
What we learned from the residents here had a deep and profound impact on us. We heard a definite concern towards protecting the environment for now and for future generations to enjoy.
The collective vision that was agreed to was that what they wanted was a place that was similar to now for their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren. So they wanted to keep the elements that make this place so special. And how they define those elements is really up to the community, but this community defined it as a lot of the natural features, such as the herring, the eagles, the fish.
Sustainability is key to the long-term health, not just of the biosphere, but the long-term health of the planet, the continuation of our civilization. It is absolutely the most important thing that we can discuss.
The interviewees told us about their personal responsibilities in protecting the land and bringing the community together.
to me, it's always been an important part of supporting young people, because if they are going to be involved in farming, they're our future, and we need to support them however we can.
Getting people involved means, you know, you're out in the field. It's not academic, then it's, you know, you get a feel for the land and you start to care about it more and especially if you're looking for something in particular, you know, if you're doing water quality tests and flow monitoring, things like that. You start learning more about what's important, and then I think you care more and you want to do more.
I think it is, what I do is very low impact environmentally. I hardly even use a tractor, it's mainly handwork. And I use sustainable fuel like on firewood and stuff like that.
It's basically a platform for people to be able to get together, and there's the customer base that wants that locally grown organic food, and the farmers market is able to provide that place once a week for people to come and get it. So we rely on it quite heavily, but I think the people in the communities rely on it being here also.
The reason I was hired in the first place was to grow the market and to get sort of more of the farmers around here, give them an outlet to sell their product.
The appreciation for the land was expressed throughout the interviews.
I feel like I should have been born with gills. I feel more at home in the water than I do on land often. This is the place that I go when I want to relax. And you're really focused on just the environment around you. So this is a really special place for me.
Myself and my family are very deeply connected to the land here. Everything we do revolves around the natural cycles, depends upon the land.
It's a very tight-knit community, and you know, you get to know the people, and it's very nice to just have and make friends in your community and just get to know these people and spend time with them and get to learn their stories and share their stories, and it's a nice place to be.
I was born on a small hand-milk dairy farm, and it's one of those kind of things that you can take the boy out of the country, but you can never take the country out of the boy. And so my great love, even though it was a hobby for many years, was the farm. And now that I'm retired and I'm enjoying my farm, and I hope to have a long and happy life here, because to me this is heaven. This is the place to be.
Everyone has their own unique experiences and relationship within the Mount Arrowsmith Biosphere Reserve. We have heard stories that took us 6,000 feet up to the peak of Mount Arrowsmith and down into the waters below sea level at Dolphin Beach. The knowledge we gained told us that the Mount Arrowsmith Biosphere Reserve is a special and unique place to its residents, and a big part of protecting the land here is protecting the biosphere designation.
Is it time to take a stand? Or is it time to love again? With a face so strong, how to ignore the wrong? Winter turns to summer, the seasons soon are gone. In this time of living, hope is just a given. How can we carry on? When the rivers all run dry, there's nothing left to cry. No one dared to care when it was time to love again. With a face so strong, how do you ignore the wrong?